Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Valentine?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Crocombe? Here. Ms. Henson?
Here.
Mr. Valentine?
Here.
Mr. Parker? Here. Mr. Allred? Here. All in attendance? C, approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any public comment? Motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Vote carries unanimously. Kathy, community announcement.
Just have a sad report that our good friend Allison Gatlin passed away. She was only 54 years old. She was the best aerospace reporter ever. I mean, when you gave a quote, that's the way it appeared in the paper. She was right on every time. Her daddy worked at NASA, and she used to come to Plane Crazy and bring her dad. But she'd sit right in the front row here at the board meetings and take notes. I've never seen anybody write so fast in my life as Allison did. She was just an amazing gal. And she told me the cutest story one time. She says, I never knew what Fitz Fulton did. He was just a nice man who sat behind us in church. I thought, wow, Fitz Fulton did so many things, but he was a nice man. There's no denying that. But they were members at the Lancaster United Methodist Church in Lancaster. And she was always there at the ice cream socials. She will be so greatly missed. And we loved her here at Mojave Air and Spaceport.
Hey, Kathy. Floyd, do your presentation now? Or? No, I thought.
He's under the reports.
Oh, it's under
he's under
reports.
reports. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, this way they can get out of work longer.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Consent agenda. Staff recommends approval of all consent items by one motion. We have minutes for the regular meeting, check register dated 15/25, resolution supporting California Energy Commission public hearing regarding store, Willow Rock, and resolution to declare certain property surplus.
Motion.
Public comment. I haven't got there yet.
It's the consent agenda. There's no public comment on the consent
Oh.
agenda. Unless
See, you're
someone
getting me in
wants an item
trouble.
removed. If you want an item removed, discuss it.
I have a motion
I'll
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous. Consent agenda. Action items. Hangar 968. Baumgardner, sublet approval.
This is a request for sublet board members. Recommendation is to approve this. Big counts and bid standing, and we don't expect there to be any issues with Mr. Baumgartner.
Sublets for them have any, I don't think they do, the term date, you just sublet, month to month.
So, we don't weigh in on the sublease agreements.
Okay,
So they could have written sublease agreements for a term, it could be month to month. We don't interfere or insert ourselves into their contractual relationships. All we do is provide consent pursuant to agreement with our tenant.
okay.
We have to agree to it.
But yeah, we're just asking the board approve consent agreement we use as our standard documentation.
That's what I was gonna ask, that was standard, it's a standard, okay.
Yes. Yep, we use it with every substance.
Oh, any public comment? All right, motion to, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion
Kathy makes a
to
motion.
approve.
Second.
Give me a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Should there be some clarity there when you say Jimmy, leave the motion?
Can you say Kathy made the motion?
No,
Kathy made the motion,
Oh,
and
Jimmy.
Jimmy seconded it.
Director Crowe.
Director Crocco.
okay,
I thought you.
I got that down in the notes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just thinking the audio, somebody went back, ooh,
We'll increase the
and
whole.
don't call us James.
All right, reports.
Yeah, it's for,
Director of Facilities.
there he is.
Good afternoon, Director. Promised last meeting.
Speak in the microphone.
Sorry. As promised last meeting, I brought some more of our facility staff to introduce them to the board. Addressing Director Ballantyne's comment, I'd be willing to bet that these three are thinking about what they need to be doing and what can't wait to get back to work.
Well, I said I could read it, they wanted to get out of here quick.
With that, so we have Robert Lathrop with us. Robert is basically our construction project manager. He handles many of our offsite contractors. He makes sure that there's payroll and payroll reporting is correct. But he does a lot of our in-house improvement projects. Robert's been with us 3 years. He's a licensed general contractor the last 17 years and has 8 years of experience in scaled composites. We also worked together there before he came to the district.
So, it's an excellent. The fact that he's a contractor, I think is
It pays in
value.
dividends, and I would say the reason that we don't have 5 roofs that we're outsourcing to contractors on our capital budget every year now is because we're doing those in-house with his leadership. So, been a very, very welcome addition to the team, and we rely on him a lot. I can't say any less about Mike Lazar. Mike's been with us 5 years. Seems like forever. Okay, 4 years.
Just seems.
Mike's got previous water district experience. He's help me stay correct, distribution 2 certification, wastewater 2 certification, licensed commercial A licensed driver with a tanker endorsement, air brake.
Wow.
He does all things water for us. PMs on the system, PMs on the hydrants. He learns the system. The two of them, Mike and Robert, both equally were instrumental. Last year, we replaced 400 feet of 10 or 12 inch C900 on Finnan Street. And they together got that job done. So I can't speak enough about Mike as well. If there's a water problem, he's usually the one that does the research, figures it out, brings us solutions, looks for problems that we're not looking for. Again, can't say enough about him. Adriana Huerta. She comes from, you've been 2 or 3 years? 3.5? I'm trying to do this from memory. 3.5 years, almost 4 years. She comes from a healthcare background, or she worked in the healthcare. She is one of our janitorial folks. And this is true about all 3 of these folks, but Adriana is one of the hardest workers that we have. She runs between jobs. She's always smiling. She's always happy to see people. She has an excellent attention to detail. There's no more proof that her job is not as equally important as anyone's here, because she directly influences the first thing that everyone sees. When they walk into the building, she makes sure that it's spotless, and she takes a lot of pride in her work. And fun fact, but whether you know or not, her son Edwin is one of our fuelers.
I noticed the restrooms. In fact, I used this one the other day. Man, it's just nice to go into a clean restroom, especially in a public facility. You know, normally maybe this one doesn't get used as much, but I notice it.
Oh, they do.
I appreciate it.
She works very hard. She takes
Yeah.
care of the gym, the event center, all of our district occupied buildings, and a lot of pride in her work. All three of these folks
Well,
have a
thank
lot of
you,
pride in their work.
all of
Yes,
you. I
absolutely.
appreciate it. I've been on the board a long time. And over the years, we've lacked in those areas that you gentlemen are filling in. I appreciate it. You know, you got a great crew.
I believe so.
Did you hire him?
I did. All three of these
All
folks.
right.
With
But wait, there's more.
I almost here just with so Adriana reports to Alma, and
Alma was introduced last meeting.
yeah, Alma was introduced last meeting.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Kathy.
She's
wasn't here.
great.
She is.
Yeah, I love Elma. This girl can.
Absolutely. So that's all I have, subject to your questions about anything.
Fabulous.
It's
Thank
the end
you.
of your report. You have nothing else to report?
Nothing else to report today. I'll be back next week with 3 more.
No wind damage. Okay.
Next meeting.
The board
No, we
members, if I may, and it's a pivot from the last meeting, I'm reiterating what I said before. I take nothing away from the outstanding work of these people there, but Floyd is too humble. He built this team. He manages this team. He executes this team. Leadership's important,
Mhm.
and he contributes greatly to the complete success of the facilities team that, as you well know, is challenging out here.
Oh, man.
The infrastructure is old. It's a
Absolutely.
day-to-day fight to have everything fully mission capable, and his team does the work, and full credit to them and Floyd built it.
Congratulations.
Great.
All right, we move on to D, Director of Operation.
Good afternoon. So for April 2024, 2025, we saw an increase overall of 21 operations. Big fall in our military operations over last year. We're down 81 from, we're down 299, which is 81 less than the 180 we had last year. We are noticing a slow down in our military ops out here. You can tell by today, we did have quite a few today. We are attributing largely to the cutbacks on government spending. We're noticing some of these lulls. We're hoping with some of the training exercises we have on the books coming up that we'll see an increase in those numbers again. But we are working diligently with our partners at the surrounding bases to continue to market Mojave as an opportunity for them to train, for them to get fuel, to get hot fuels, or even to come get lunch during busy training days. So we're hoping that we'll see those numbers increase here soon. I did go back and look, and it was an improvement over 2023. So we are still overall increasing our military ops. We just had a bit of a lull compared to last year. And then in 8 days, we have our state California Department of Transportation aeronautics inspection, so we can really put our maintenance folks to the test. I see them avoiding looking at me.
Those folks are out.
Oh, okay.
How does that affect them? They have to.
So every year, California Department of Transportation, their aeronautics division comes out. We've had the same inspector. We just talked about this for 20 years, Dan Gargis. They'll come out and they evaluate the airfield to ensure that it's up to standard, that we make sure the signs are the right color, yellow, and the lights are working and the weeds aren't taking over. But I do rely very heavily on these guys because all I do is say, hey, that sign is wrong, but they're the ones that make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And which keeps David happy because then he gets less lengthy, angry letters from the inspectors that be. But we do very well out here. So congrats to the guys that are in here, the maintenance folks that are out on the airfield making the airfield
And
pretty.
congrats to you too. I mean, it's a team effort. And you're directing. So.
Thank you. But that was all I had.
That's it?
I had a short one this week.
And if you don't mind, board members, echoing again what I said at the last meeting about Ariel. So she runs a remarkably lean staff that makes certain that there's 6 fully operational pieces of tarmac out there and all those test sites fully integrated, fully operational, and customers smile. And she manages to do all that together, and how she can now and then wield her velvet hammer and have the customers leave, our mission partners leave her office with a smile on their face, even though they just got beat soundly about the head and the shoulders, is amazing to me.
Well, that's
But
because she
has
shows
that
them
ability.
videos of the ducks.
There
Yeah.
are a lot. My ducks are very famous now, but also please don't light my airport on fire anymore.
Do those F-35s ever land for fuel?
So typically, no.
Doggone it, they use a bunch, and they have a way of turning that Jet A into the Sound of Freedom.
Yes, unfortunately, it very rapidly becomes a long day if an F-35 lands
Oh,
here.
yeah, I would think.
We had a very fun day last summer where I had 2 land here, unfortunately, both with mechanical issues. So
Yes.
it does become challenging when they do land.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But no, typically it's the F-18s that we'll see for
Right.
the hot refuels.
Do they have to send a crew out from the base or something
Yeah.
for the 35s?
Sure.
They do have to provide some level of security. How they accomplish that is dependent on where they're coming from, what the mission is, certain details with the aircraft. But yes, they will have people out there with the aircraft, which was very fun when one of them was on our taxiway
I'll bet.
for several days. So it does become challenging.
Yes.
It's probably not written into a federal instruction, but I know as air crew, I only broke where I like to break. So I think they like it here.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I remember I was hollering hell out, and that pilot was sitting out there under the wing.
Yeah, for a long time.
It was very warm, unfortunately, and we're kind of rolling water bottles because we weren't allowed to approach the
I guess he
aircraft.
couldn't come to
So
pilot's
we-
lounge.
We
That's
got it
water.
worked out for them later.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Thanks, Ariel.
of course.
Dr. Smith, it's your turn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. First, I'd like to offer an idea for a small change. We keep briefing no update on the hangars. What I'd like to do is delete that from the briefing line items. And when we have updates on hangars, we'll include it rather than constantly just eat up that little bit of ink and have no data for you. A few highlights and 2 here on the agenda and 1 I'll walk on. So California's Job First. This is a major initiative from the governor's office through the Go Biz program, with multiple grants being made available. Mojave has gone in with 5 different grant applications in concert with what's called REACH, which is the organization in the Vandenberg area, quite similar to the local Civ Mill, or actually a better analogy would be the local AD Edge.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have done in partnership with them is submitted under the theory of a access to space triangle, developing business, jobs, infrastructure, capability for the future of California. And we're one of the 3 key nodes of that triangle.
Wow.
The others being Vandenberg and LA. So the 5 grants that we pushed through California Jobs First, 2 were felt were non-competitive, but the other 3 have all gone forward. And it looks like we may have, Boyd will probably be the one to go up there, the 23rd of July, a face-to-face session in San Francisco where the selected competitors going forward will get to verbally brief their initiatives. And our grants are the Tech Bravo improvements, the hangar door on 60, right? And the roof on 79. So, and they're large dollar submissions, so fairly considerable. The 2 submissions that did not go forward, the Jobs First people felt that we really couldn't show the jobs connection that we can on these others. We're a perimeter road and a storage yard. Both very important. It was just a harder sell to show a jobs connection there, which is what COPIS is looking for here. We do have another grant going. It's outside of the program. That's the $1.5 million, again, California state funded grant through GoBiz. The hope is that will fund our master plan for an air and spaceport. We do have a line in the proposed budget when it comes to you to still identify that. Hopefully we'll return those dollars to inventory and be able to expense them otherwise if that grant comes through. So staff's worked hard on those. We had 5 grants going forward. We'll see what we deliver.
Wow.
And I'm expecting positive news.
Question.
Sure.
Is this an in-house, does someone here write these grants?
We're in partnership with B3K and this REACH organization. REACH, if you know the gentleman, Justin Salters, is very active with REACH and B3K. And he is, for lack of a better term, our champion moving forward. And we did all the preliminary work and the initial submission. Now that it's going to this final triangle submission that we believe will gain action going forward, Justin and his staff are doing the fine tuning of the final submissions.
Right, okay.
And interestingly, that's all grants.
Really?
Right.
Wow.
Well, I think he's gonna want a lunch. So,
That would be appropriate. And a piece of apple pie.
right. So that's the job first and the grants update. We've had great seasonal updates, which we do on a regular recurring basis with all our mission partners. If you recall, I don't like the term tenant. I think it implies a subservient relationship. If anything, I see I work for the tenants more than the tenants work for us.
Oh, sure.
So I like mission partner because that's what we're doing. We're in this together for common success. And the updates were sound. The mission partners seem extremely pleased. Had a one-on-one just yesterday with another one. And it's the staff is really shining. I can take no credit for that. The staff across the board, they're so impressed with the fact that, heck, when they've got a facilities issue, it's handled this way. When they've got an ops issue, it's handled this way. Anything we need to do is remarkably efficiently responded to, and that's their good doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good news story. And then an interesting walk-on. Thursday, I will be out at Edwards with folks from 3 of our different mission partners, taking a look at the old X-33 launch site.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a chance of bringing the X-33 launch site back to operational status.
Wow.
That launch site back in the day when it was working X-33, which was also called single stage to orbit.
Yep.
That site was cleared for vertical launch.
Did they ever use it? They never launched
used
from it, did they?
Never did. And the big driver behind its clearance for vertical launch is back then we had a very active California Space Authority, which is now a sunset organization. But with that said, and working in discussion with the FAA, well, the good news is the FAA did not say no to vertical launch at X-33. They said it's going to take some research to see if we can grandfather those particular apogees and the particular systems. They strongly recommended, and why we have mission partners coming out there with me, is they strongly recommend that when we come to them under 450 provisions, if and when we come to them for vertical launch, that we have this already set up with one of our mission partners going forward. If we walk in ourselves and say, hey, we want blanket vertical launch, the likelihood is the answer is no. But if we can walk in the door and say, it's this system on this apogee delivering these satellites, it's got this degree of reliability, we feel we've deconflicted the risk appropriately, and oh, by the way, that company will write the check and pay the bill, then we can probably make it fly. So A little update on X-33, more to follow at the next board meeting. And also at the next board meeting, I hope to be able to hand you our action plan, strategic plan moving forward. It's been a long time coming. It's under edit review again. And subject to your question.
Bless you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your week.
That's exciting.
It could be. I don't want us to get
I know,
too far in front of it,
I know,
but it's a question worth asking,
absolutely.
right?
Would they use the site that's already built then, or?
So most likely, we may be able to, now, the preliminary data from Edwards is they want 5.5 million for site reclamation.
Uh-huh.
Now, we may be able to reach back to the prior occupant of X-33 if it's, let's say part of that 5.5 million is environmental remediation.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that the new guy walking in should be paying the environmental remediation bill if somebody else dirtied the land,
Yeah,
right? And I think the other people that were there probably have a wallet, so it remains Lockheed Martin and NASA. So,
yeah,
so anyhow, no promises there, but gonna look at this very objectively and if the appropriate business case can be made. And hopefully with the right partner arrangement, we could have at least the majority of those seats come from the folks that actually want to do the punching, because that'll produce their revenue.
mm-hmm.
I see us stepping in here as potentially sort of the broker and caretaker of the site. So we do that, keeping it operational,
Mm-hmm.
but the people that are actually lighting the fuse on the bottom of that long metal tube are the guys who are fiscally benefiting, so they're also the people compensated.
Makes sense.
I don't know if you can answer this. What would be their, since apparently somebody has a product that needs to get up there, what would be their other options? Vandenberg?
So here, it's a bit of a quandary for them.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep this more in a Reader's Digest version. We could be here all day on this. So Vandenberg, the Cape, and Brownsville all have capability to, for all intents and purposes, less at Brownsville, but it's close enough, do overwater launch.
Mm-hmm.
They're also all structured and built for large, heavy systems, and they're extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
There's two big movements in access to space. The one that you see about on the news a lot is the Falcon Heavy with 200 satellites on it, going up, scattering them all over the place, and they do magic. The other is, Bob's Aerospace around the corner that builds almost sort of a backyard rocket and sticks a satellite on it, but launches it at about 1/100th the cost of that Falcon Heavy. Their issue is it's not cost effective for them to go to the big three for launch. And frankly, it's only two. Brownsville's kind of off the table because that's just SpaceX.
Yeah.
But Vandenberg and Canaveral are the two games in town. Again, they are built largely for heavy launch. They have other capabilities. They have other slicks that they can use. But in most cases, they're built for the heavy launch, and it's expensive. The other quandary here is the reality, and this was eye-opening going to the Space Mobility Conferences. 10 years ago, if we launched 10, 12 rockets a year, that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we launched 200.
Mm.
We're expected that to go to 400 in 2 years. Vandenberg and the Cape are currently maxed out.
Mm.
Major CapEx investments from the federal government are going into both locations to improve their throughput and capacity. But both locations have acknowledged publicly that it won't be enough to absorb doubling the launch mission. it'll increase, absolutely. So we have not just a business case for vertical launch, we have a really national imperative. There is strategic value in this. There is the potential of a near peer competitor in the future. And if you believe what the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party said in 2027, he's going to annex Taiwan. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
But that was publicly stated, so we'll see. You know, there may or may not be a threat out there. My crystal ball isn't better than anybody else's. But with all that said, I would offer that if a threat like that were to become real, I think Canaveral and Vandenberg become highly vulnerable. And to maintain the integrity and access to space for the United States of America, we have to be willing to diversify our launch base. The FAA is very restrictive on that, and rightly so, for safety reasons. But they've also said publicly that they expect, as the demand and the reliability both keep going up, that they will become less stringent in their requirements, as they do have a duty to support commerce, which is their ultimate duty. That's what they exist under, the commerce provision of the Constitution. So, long story, I hope it got close to answering your question.
On those lines, I just got back from Kennedy, and 90% of that facility or more, I would say, is Blue Origin and SpaceX. You go around the whole facility and you see Blue and SpaceX everywhere, nothing else.
Yep.
Interesting. And it is a massive facility.
Oh, it's huge.
Which one you got about Cape or Brandon?
It's got
And
pretty
Florida.
big golf course.
Yeah.
Well, subject to your questions, board members.
Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, let's move on.
That's neat stuff.
D, board committee, we have none?
Director Fund.
Director comment. I have no comment. Do you have a comment?
No, I have one comment.
Do you have a comment?
For the school district, Mojave is graduating 17 seniors with AA degrees from Syracuse College this
Oh,
year.
awesome.
Oh, great.
That is way cool.
Remember years ago, and I hear these students speak and they talk about their GPA and 4.9 or whatever. How do they do that? Well, I understand that now. AP classes and college classes. Yeah. And the beauty of them going to Syracuse through our district is we pay all their tuition and everything. So
Wow.
they go off to a 4-year college and only have to pay for 2 years.
Right.
We buy their books, we pay for their credits and everything. So it saves the parents and the people a ton of money.
Yeah.
Typically probably $20,000 to $30,000 in savings by letting them graduate through us, through Syracuse.
Yes.
AA.
That's super.
The classes, where do they go up Ridgecrest, or they're here or around the valley? Or they actually, and most of it at the school, and we have teachers that are dual enrollment teachers that are professors as well as high school teachers. So for English and math, like English 101, Math 101 and those, we have dual teachers that have a doctorate and they teach the college curriculum at the high school for certain kids.
Is this both Mojave and Cal City?
It's Mojave and Cal City. Most of the Mojave kids have to go to Cal City, but we bus them and we take them back.
That's
So
super.
it's a great program, and it's grown and grown. The first few years we had 1 or 2 or 3. We're up to 17.
I should get that information for Roseman,
And
because they were doing it
that's
while I
not
was
to
still
count in
teaching.
how many were close
Yeah.
to having their AA, but we actually have 17 that have
That's
it.
good.
Any of the other local schools in this?
Yeah, Roseman's doing it back when I was still 10 years ago, yeah.
There's a SOAR Academy down in Palmdale.
Okay,
Like,
you have a SOAR.
Right.
Okay, I'm just curious. It's great.
Wow. Saved them a lot of time and you save money.
Yeah.
I started that
Transportation.
initiative like 15 years ago when I first got on the board for my daughter, and my daughter graduated almost with it. And then she just had to do 2 years at UC Irvine to get her bachelor's.
That's great.
Saved me a ton of money.
What was her major?
She started out aerospace engineering. She ended up being a teacher in English.
Excellent.
So you say you had an agenda?
I have a comment.
She wanted to go to Florida for school, and I drew a 1 hour circle in the airplane. I said, you can go to school.
Yeah, I agree. I
She wants to
agree.
go to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, well,
If you don't mind, a highlight is we are working very closely with Mojave and with the local school districts in a more global sense, all the way out to Kern. But we had 2 of us supporting the meeting at the adult school last week. And the adult school principal is in my office tomorrow for a face-to-face session to talk more about pathways and
Good.
how we can open some doors to more of the local people here to careers in aerospace.
On the other hand of that too, we also have our welding shop at Mojave.
Good.
Our teacher now is certified to certify students as welders, so they can leave high school as a certified welder in the different disciplines. And we also have our A&P school going in California City, and pretty soon we'll be graduating A&Ps with a high school.
it's amazing how many kids don't have the opportunity that our kids had. My son learned to weld when he was 10, but he had a grandpa that knew all that stuff. But that seems to be gone.
No, it's here, all in the rural schools, it's still there.
Good.
Has
Hallelujah.
been. Big city schools have
For
eliminated
far
and
too
lost
long,
out.
they pushed for everybody to get a degree,
Yeah,
no matter what. And that's when all your auto shops and everything fell apart.
I know. That's,
And we're
that's
trying to
too
make a
bad.
balance of,
Yeah.
when you start school in 9th grade, we put you on a pathway. Do you want to be a pathway to be an A&P? Do you want a pathway to be a certified welder? Do you want to go to school and go to college and so on? And we start them off on a pathway early, so it's easy for them to finish. And the success rate's much, much higher because of it.
I wanted to tell everyone we had a great Plane Crazy Saturday with Steve Rainey speaking. And of course, he not only told us about the National Test Pilot School, and but about his career in the Air Force. And of course, his favorite airplane is the F-22. And he talked about how you get in and he loves that feeling of power, and it has plenty. But he gave a really great talk. I mean, he's enthusiastic and he really connected with the audience. So it was a good time, and there were lots of kids here. It's just a time for planting seeds in those kids. And it was so windy, only one airplane flew in. But I don't know. I learned to fly in the wind. It's
have to out here.
yeah. My
If
instructor
you
was
can't fly in the wind out here, you don't fly.
exactly. Yeah. So anyway, it was a good time.
Any other comments? Then we will move on to closed session.
Oh,
The board pleases, I'd like to keep Floyd, and if you don't mind, we could jump ahead and talk C and D.
oh, sure.